Yo, what is up everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and oh my god, we need to talk about what McLaren just announced, because this might be the single biggest story going into the Miami Grand Prix, and I don't think people are fully appreciating how massive this is. McLaren, completely new car, Miami, May 3rd, 9 days away. Andrea Stella, McLaren's team principal, confirmed it himself. McLaren are set to deliver a completely new car for Miami, and he expects all rival teams to do the same. Now hang on, context. This is not just a big upgrade package, not a new floor or a new front wing. Stella used the words, completely new car. In Formula One, that is enormous. Teams spend hundreds of millions developing these machines over years, and McLaren are essentially saying, everything you saw in Australia, China, and Japan was version 1. Miami is version 2, a completely different animal. Cast your mind back to the start of this season. Melbourne, race 1 of 2026. Oscar Piastri, reigning Constructors' Champion team, car number 2 on the grid, one of the fastest drivers in the world, crashes on his way to the grid before the race even starts. He doesn't take the start. 0 laps, 0 points. Then China, round 2. Lights go out. Within moments, both McLarens are reporting electrical issues. Both cars pull out before the race begins. Not one car, both cars. The defending champions didn't complete a single racing lap across an entire Grand Prix weekend. That is a catastrophe, embarrassing, factory emergency meeting stuff. And then Japan happens, and something shifts. Piastri goes from 0 race starts in 2026 to qualify 3rd at Suzuka and finish 2nd in the race, from nowhere to a podium in one weekend. Even Norris looked competitive, 5th on the grid, strong in the race until strategy bit. All of that, still with the version 1 car. Here's why they had to do this. 2026 isn't a tweak. It's a different species of F1 car that forces a new design philosophy. New power units, active aero, and a near 50-50 split between electric and combustion change everything. How you package, cool, and chase downforce, and when you spend energy versus save it. And everyone developed blind, months of simulation with no real-world data to validate the models. Until lights out, it was all theory. 3 races in, they finally have hard data. Now they see what the regs reward versus what the wind tunnel suggested, where drag trades beat peak downforce, how battery windows shape corner approach, and why straight-line deltas exploded. Then came 5 clear weeks, no freight, no back-to-backs, to bake every lesson from Australia, China, and Japan into a rebuilt package. For McLaren, 5 weeks is a lifetime of development. Stella also said he expects all rival teams to do the same, and he's right. Everyone had the same 5 weeks and the same data. Miami isn't just another race, it's basically the real start of the 2026 season. The cars that show up on May 3rd will be fundamentally different from what raced at Suzuka on March 29th, which means everything we think we know about the pecking order could be wrong in 9 days. Think about Mercedes. George Russell and Kimi Antonelli have won every race so far, 3 from 3, front-row lockouts every qualifying. They're dominating like early turbo-hybrid era stuff. And now every team is showing up with a completely new car, built to close that gap. Piastri even said he's hopeful the new regs plus McLaren's upgrades will restore a more normal feeling to qualifying, once the energy management pressure eases and driver mistakes matter again. Here's why I think McLaren could be a title threat from Miami onward. They're the 2025 Constructors' Champions. They know how to build a winner. The infrastructure, wind tunnel, engineers, simulator. When McLaren have a car that works, they develop fast. 2026 wasn't a talent issue. It was a wrong starting point under new regs. 5 weeks of data means they now know what the car needs, and they can exploit that quicker than the field. Then there's Lando Norris, the reigning world champion with car number 1 and all the tools that come with it. He's been fighting from P5 or worse because the car wasn't there. Give him a working version 2 car and a qualifying format that's less of an energy management lottery, and Norris from the front row in Miami is a different proposition entirely. And Oscar Piastri, 0 points so far but second fastest at Suzuka last year, and 7 wins in a McLaren. If the new car fires, he could drop 25 or 26 points in one weekend and be right back in this fight. The upside is real because their simulator and correlation are strong when they reset the baseline. Now, the risk. A completely new car can bring new problems. Ask Mercedes 2022 with the zero side pod. Big developments don't always match the sim, and setup windows can shrink before they widen. And remember, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, none of them are standing still. Everyone brings big stuff to Miami. The question isn't who brings the biggest update, it's who brings the right update. One that unlocks balance, energy deployment, and tire temperature without trade-offs. If McLaren's reset lands, the strengths compound fast, clean aero platform, efficient deployment maps, and 2 drivers who convert front row starts. If it misses, you burn through budget and time chasing ghosts while rivals iterate. Net, I'm optimistic, but grounded. The ingredients are there. Best-in-class development when the concept is right, a champion in form, and a team that learned fast. Miami is the truth serum. It's not who brings the biggest update, it's who brings the right update. From Miami onward, the ceiling is championship level if the package correlates. If it does, Norris from the front row and Piastri punching above weight is a nightmare for everyone else. If it doesn't, they'll learn fast and bring the next fix. Either way, McLaren just made this title fight very real. Here's what separates McLaren right now. They have the most to gain. Ferrari and Mercedes are already in the window. Red Bull need a miracle. But McLaren put Piastri P2 at Suzuka with the old car. With their version 2 machine, the ceiling in Miami is wide open. And the circuit matters. It's a sprint weekend, sprint quali, sprint, Grand Prix quali, then the race, crammed together. FP1 is a full 90 minutes to dial in brand new packages. That single session will tell us who nailed their upgrades and who's still finding their feet. If McLaren top FP1, the whole championship picture can flip in an hour. 3 races happened. Mercedes dominated, Verstappen struggled, McLaren stumbled. Everyone said the season was boring. Now 9 days before Miami, the FIA tweaks are bedding in, teams are rolling out completely reworked cars, and a 5-week development war has played out behind closed doors. McLaren say this is a brand new machine, what Martin Brundle called one of the biggest relaunches in F1 history. That's the context arriving into a street circuit sprint with pressure everywhere. So where does this land? Miami could reset the order. 1 long FP1, 4 flat-out sessions, and upgrades across the field mean volatility, setup gambles, deployment maps, traffic, and heat all in play. If Mercedes stay mighty, the title march continues. If McLaren hit the sweet spot, we have a 3-team fight overnight. And if Red Bull unlock their window, the narrative whiplash will be outrageous. Either way, this is not a boring season anymore. This is the most unpredictable Miami Grand Prix we've had, and I cannot wait. Drop a comment. Does McLaren's new car make them title contenders from Miami onward, or are Mercedes already too far ahead? Subscribe if you haven't. Miami coverage starts in 9 days, and I'll be on every session, practice, sprint, quali, race. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the data drops and debriefs. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.